had met the most innocent Irish family that could ever exist at this time in Terramarkt. And that would be the Kinsla family. And they're very influential. So influential, in fact, that they are the mother, I keep calling her and referring to her as the matron, which is not wrong, but I feel like there's got to be more than one word that adequately describes
Matriarch.
her. Yeah, matriarch is also appropriate, but the matriarch of the family is in talks with with another major city, possibly about something involving the railroad, or trying to get a railroad started, which is kind of a wild thing. It's a huge potential for change that would be under the control of a very outwardly innocent family with weird vibes. But you all were, for one reason or another, pulled into an investigation to check out a particular crime scene. Let me pull up this one. You were to look at this map. Or not this map. You were to look at this building that was going to be designated as a new historical society to celebrate and educate about archival history in Terramarkt. But it was attacked suddenly by an onset of ghouls, more specifically ghoulites, which are like kind of small fledgling ghouls. They're bite-sized. And it was dealt with, but in the process, an artifact that you had acquired, as at least you as a family, you, the royal you all had acquired, was swiped, and you wanted to go retrieve it. On an ask from a private individual who has not given their identity, but is suspicious of the church and their intentions. The church, having kind of cordoned this building off, keep people out for one reason or another. It is still like kind of a mess of a crime scene, but when you got there, you did not find the documents in question, which are effectively like kind of Dead Sea Scroll-esque documents that relate to the church before it was reformed and turned into the Order of the Newly Risen. So you were looking around, and over the course of the little bit of a time you investigated, there was like a slight pull that drew you all to one particular corner of this area. And as you were all pulled for your different reasons, you started to dig down in one of the separate towers. I think it was this like northwestern tower.
Yes.
Yeah, and so when you dug and got underneath the stonework, you found that it was a quite massive hole, and it collapsed inward, and you all tumbled down into it. Is there anything I'm missing for you all?
We are all varying degrees of spooked.
Yes, you're all varying degrees of spooked.
I'm having
It is spooky and weird.
That's true. Caithness is thriving.
So, if that is good for you all, we can pick right back up with you all inside of this smooth board, concrete stone tunnel. It's cold, it's dark, there's no light source. the tunnel in and of itself is about not quite 15 feet, maybe about 12 feet in diameter. So you can stand, and you're not anywhere near the other top side of it. It's pretty sizable, especially, well, you're not all experts on monsters, but, well, I think, is Cathus a little bit of a monster expert?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to give me, you can give me a focus roll. First roll of the night. Yeah, and this is a low stakes roll. With this, it's going to be like a roll to kind of assess information about what you're able to glean from the nature of the monster attacks you saw around the area, as well as like the hole you're currently in, and it's in the nature of how those two kind of connect.
It's a nice hole.
It's a nice hole. It's really nice. 6 on the Gilded. Nice. So yeah. So with a perfect success, you're able to, the immediate thing that you are aware of, you know that, like, the attack that was described in the paper, which I assume that information was shared. The attack that was described mentioned that they were would have mentioned the term ghoulite. And ghoulites, you are at least passingly familiar with enough to know, like, the average height of a ghoulite is somewhere around 4 feet tall. They're not very big creatures. And they're anywhere from 50 to 80 pounds generally. They're stocky, muscly creatures. And they're humanoid shaped, they're just smaller. But knowing that, and looking at this hole, and trying to assess the damage from the house, you're really struggling to see how a bunch of ghoulites could have bored this hole. It doesn't add up. The math doesn't check out. Ghoulites, if they don't typically dig, they are typically ambush predators, like something like a predator cat, where they will hide in underbrush or in the woodland, or behind outcroppings of rock in mountainy areas. They tend to stick to the north. They're never really underground. But just theorizing, if they were to dig a hole, you would imagine seeing scratch marks and claw marks from their hands and their feet all over the walls. And there is not a single blemish on the surface around you. So this hole was either dug for them, or they may have not even used this hole to get in at all.
Does anything come to mind that would make a perfectly smooth hole like this?
So, I will defer to your knowledge of your backstory. Would Cathus know anything about old world cities?
That's right in line with the research Professor Grimm's doing, so I think so.
Okay. So, with what you can recall from your research, and the research from Professor Grimm, the nature of the stone and the smoothness of this surface, it doesn't look dug. It just doesn't. There's not a machine or a creature that could make it this smooth. especially at this like weird angle where it slopes very sharply up, almost at a right angle or almost at a 90-degree angle to go underneath the tower. And you haven't walked down that pathway yet, but looking down it as it just stretches into the dark, it still seems smooth. You have heard of a phenomenon that occurs in old world cities. It's I'm forgetting the word for it, but it is like a smoothboard pseudopod of like actual stone, and the old world cities have these networks of them that they almost reach out and probe in the areas around them to grow. It's somewhere between like a tendril and a root of an old world city.
And those tend to come from old world cities?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It looks if you I mean there's no old world city near Termarkt that you're aware of, but this looks like it came from one. And
Above ground, at least.
those tendrils are typically below ground.
No, I mean, we don't know any cities above ground
yes.
that are near Termarkt.
Correct, exactly. And the idea of typically these tendrils, they're difficult to measure because the geometry and the nature of precise measurement in old world cities gets a little difficult. But the longest one that you personally or Dr. Grimm, or sorry, Professor Grimm had been aware of, the longest stretch of a like tunnel like this has been maybe a mile. It's pretty long, but they're generally kind of they ebb and flow and weave. They don't just shoot straight. If they were to shoot straight, it might be longer. But yes, this really does seem like one of those probing things.
One last question on that. Those, do they tend to be empty?
Yes. So, from what you were studying, the city, they are hollow tunnels where the city will reach out and probe ground and start to manifest itself there.
Hmm.
In the opposite way in which a plant root would reach out to collect water and minerals, this old world city will reach out to start growing itself in that area.
Right, so a tree that grows from a root rather than a root that grows from a tree.
Mm-hmm.
Neat. Having assimilated all of this, Cadmus turns to the others, and it's a familiar look. It's one they would usually give when they would disappear into the house, the sort of ghost of the smile. And they're just going to start trying to walk down the tunnel without a light source.
As Caithness starts walking, Kat turns to Bellamy and then turns back to Caithness and then tilts her head a little bit. Caithness, you're not wandering down a tunnel without a light source or any kind of guidance, are you?
Yes, I am.
But heaven alone knows what's down that way.
Oh, heaven has nothing to do with it.
Kat turns to Bellamy. Well, Mr. Montaigne, I sure hope you're the brave and enterprising type, because it seems that Caithness has already decided our path for us.
Bellamy is going to be looking up towards the entrances that they just fell down and cursing to himself. Shit, shit, shit. He's patting himself down. Can he find his smoke sign?
Yes, you pat your pockets. For a second, you are just about to have like a full-blown, like, pissed off, God, where the fuck are my smoke? And you find them in your chest pocket, and you're like, oh, thank God.
You're about to be like Harge when he's trying to fix the sink.
God damn it!
God damn it! Excuse me. How do you know my wife?
Fucking Kenny and fix his sink. No wonder she left him.
I'm so sorry. We have Carol brain rot.
Yes. We're making a very, very specific movie reference.
You're totally fine.
So you find your smoke spell. What are you doing?
You find your smokes. I will say, like, you can give me a focus roll if you want, but you don't have to. This is another low stakes roll for you, Bellamy. Holy shit!
Extreme poggers.
So, Belle, as you find your smokes, you grab it. You find your lighter in the same pocket, and flick out a cigarette, light it up, and right as you take a first puff on the smoke, you have this moment where you start to remember a particular outing, a particular trip that you went on not too long ago, that when you got to the site, it had similar concrete structure, smooth stone, rock, like this, as not a sculpted or manufactured rock, but rock that had just been like that for always.
This wouldn't happen to be the bad job, was it?
Oh, it's the bad job.
Oh.
Absolutely bad job.
Bellamy's gonna leave the cigarette in his mouth and check his hands. Feel around his chest and his pockets for the coin. And I think Keith is probably still walking off and not waiting for them, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's going to distract him because of Colin's job for Belle. He'll give up on looking for the coin and just go, shit. Keith, can you just wait for us 1 second? We don't know where we're going.
Keith slows a little bit. Doesn't turn back around, but just stands there.
And he'll look to Kat.
Kat will tilt her head, look back to Caithness, look to Bellamy, let out a sigh. Oh, I don't suppose you were finding a lantern in your pockets there, Mr. Montagna, were you?
Kat, I'd love to joke around, but yet. And he's gonna light jog up to catch up to Keith. Keith, do you have any idea what this is, what any of this is?
The city is coming. It's coming here.
His mouth will drop and the cigarette just sags a little. Do you care to explain?
Kate looks to him and then back at Kat.
Kat has begrudgingly started to follow along.
The old world does not want to stay in the past. It sends out these roots, find a new place to lay its foundations. If it's under the city, that means it's coming here.
Now hold on just a minute. Are you saying one of the old world cities is coming to take over Terramarked?
Oh, you call it taking over, but I wonder what will happen.
Kat will also curse beneath her breath and start following the others, and will bat at Bellamy because she saw him reaching for a cigarette. Oh, have you got to light her at least? If the apocalypse is coming to Terramarked, I'd like to see it.
Bell toss Cat his lighter.
Kat will open lighter, open menu, select lighter, select use lighter.
Oh wait, hold on. Do I have a sound effect for this? I need to get the Silent Hill menu sound effects. But yes, you, with total ease, flip out the lighter and light a cigarette for yourself, as you both continue after Cathus. Cathus, as you're walking, you're far enough ahead now that you're pretty good in the dark. But it is unusual because of the fact that the darkness is, strangely enough, it's not receding, but there is almost a there's almost an unnatural ambient light, like somehow there's never enough darkness to make it impossible for you to walk forward without tripping. Not that there's anything really to trip on, but even walking in total pitch black darkness is difficult. But you just have a dull sense of ambient light that seems to not radiate off of you, but like almost like where your eyes are looking, there is just a dull light cast in at whatever you're looking at.
Kate loves this.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Keith is simply having a wonderful time. So my question then would be, how do you think Keith would feel going down this tunnel and like seeing the ambient light, like as her compatriots follow after her? What, like, having them follow after her, does that arouse any like frustration or impatience, or does she just feel completely detached from everything except this location?
I would say there's a dim amount of frustration, having had to stop and talk about things, having to explain things rather than intuiting them, and it's there, but it's not the strongest thing. The strongest thing is that sense of curiosity and rightness, the feeling that they can navigate in the dark without any trouble just makes them feel like this is what they need to be doing and that this is the right thing to do and that they're on to something.
Okay. How long would you all walk down this tunnel before you start to like get nervous and say, "Hey, maybe we should turn around"? Is there like after 5 minutes would one of you speak up, or 10 minutes, or 30 minutes?
I feel like Kat would give it like a solid. She's not without her own curiosities, but I think that her status as designated responsible member of the family would mean she wouldn't let it go past like 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
at 20 minutes, she would call out.
Are Belle or Kate gonna speak up pre 20 minutes?
Bell's been tasked with following Keith, so that's what he's going to do.
Okay.
That's a terrible idea. Kate, knowing that these aren't usually that long, is bent on seeing it through to the end. And it can't take longer than 20 minutes to walk a mile in the dark underground.
So, right about at just shy of that 20-minute mark, just shy of when you would speak up and say something, Kate or Kat? Is it Kate or Kat? I'm sorry, I'm on the name thing again.
It's Kat, and it's Kat, and then it's Kate's Ness.
God,
yeah.
I swear I'll get it one day.
Are they spelled basically the same way? Yes.
So
language is fun.
As you are walking down this tunnel, Kat, like you feel like the anxiety growing, and you're like, okay, it's been a good minute. I feel like maybe we should turn back. And just before that feeling has peaked enough to where you want to speak up about it, you turn your head and notice something that in no small way, there's no reason anyone else wouldn't have noticed it. You turn your head and you see a door.
Kat stops, and I imagine it's the marching order is like Kat behind Bellamy, and then Kate's Ness in front, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Kat will stop, and she'll put a hand on Bellamy to stop him as well. Wait a moment now. Seems we found a door. Well, I don't know about going through it right this moment. Seems we should be getting some sort of help before we go back. We don't know where this leads, but sure is queer, isn't it? And then, oh God.
Oh, you?
I was going to say, and then Kat quickly waves a rainbow flag, so it's okay for her to say queer.
I was going to say, I didn't know Kat was pro-slur.
Belle's gonna look at the door, then at Kat, then look back to Keith, and sigh. You know, Keith. Door's gonna get opened.
That I do. Well, and at least it'll stop them going straight down the tunnel to who knows where. Perhaps we can Perhaps it leads right back up. It's some sort of service tunnel. There'd be need of that, wouldn't there?
Like a sewer?
No, a service tunnel. For whoever's coming down here, there's got to be other entrances and exits. Be mad if there was only the one on each end.
Belle pauses and looks towards Keith. Are they still walking?
Has anyone stopped them?
Would Keith be interested in a door? A door that she supposedly missed.
But or the tunnel. It's tough. Yeah, they'll reluctantly go back. Just kind of staring at the door as they approach.
So I'm going to ask a strange question to you, Kira. But it is an important question.
Oh dear.
What does this door look like?
Huh, that's an interesting one. I think that this door looks to be made of metal, and it's very thick, and it's rusted over in a way that does not quite make sense for the tunnel that it's in, with very heavy bolts throughout. It doesn't look like a very friendly door.
So this is a door that, more than likely, this is a door that Katrina has not seen.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least not seen before. This is an old, like, rusted service door with there's not really like a handle of any kind so much as there is like a lever to lift the locking mechanism or bolt so that you can push it in or pull it out.
Exactly right. It's a door that does not quite belong in this time either. It would be a very unusual sort of door right now, I imagine.
So you see that door before you. And Bellamy and Kate, you both also see a door of this nature, this metallic door that is rusted with age, but very out of place. It looks like a cross between like a typical front door and a bank vault, plus or minus 100 years worth of neglect. What do you do?
Has Bellamy encountered anything like this on the job?
In the previous job?
In general?
In general? Generally, most of the stuff that Bellamy would have encountered would be things like, either like old stonework sort of temples or wooden colonial houses, or sometimes even stone and stone castle work sort of things. But it's not so alien to them that they are off-put by it, but it does raise a little bit of like a question in the back of their mind, a question in the back of your mind, one that is like, you don't know what this is for. Generally, you can see a door and understand like, oh, okay, this is a front door, this is like a securing jail door, this is a bank vault, this is, you know, a screen. Like, you can determine how the door is supposed to function. This thing looks tough, but it's very out of place. It is just slotted, sunk into the wall smoothly. There's no like any sort of grating or anything as you look at the sides of it too. Like it was just plopped right into the side of the tunnel.
How much clearance is there under the door?
Define clearance.
The gap between the bottom of the door and the floor beneath it.
If you get on your hands and knees and really squint at it, you could probably get like maybe the barest sliver of like half a centimeter. Not much.
So you guys don't want me to open the door, right?
You can open the door if you would like.
Okay.
I thought you guys were examining it.
I was considering seeing if there was enough space to slip like a mirror or the blade or something underneath, but that's not enough clearance to get a good look at the other side.
I'll say you could probably slip the edge of a blade underneath. You if you had like just a flat like plane of mirror glass, you could slide just that flat plane underneath it. But I imagine that you probably have it like recessed in something like a casing of some kind.
I have occult supplies and research materials, so I would figure one or the other would have at least a piece of mirrored glass.
Yeah.
Willing to break that open if I need to.
Yeah, you know what? That's totally fair. So you take a second. And you take a second, Kathis. Like go for your pack. You're not unfamiliar with this sort of exploration activity sort of thing. So you tear into your pack and withdraw the mirror. Very deftly pop it out of the case, and you have just now the smooth, like circular, reflective mirror. It is very, very fragile. There's something like just I can't describe it. There's some quality about it there's some quality about a frail, thin piece of glass, reflective mirror being placed against this incredibly cold and harsh and gritty stone, to slide underneath what is probably like a 1-ton steel door. That is just there's like an element of tension to it. Like if even something goes wrong, even in the slightest, this thing will just shatter to pieces. And it's not a catastrophic loss, but that tension is very palpable. But you slide the mirror underneath it. And if you look as best you can, it's very difficult because that crack is very thin. But looking underneath it, it's dark. That quality of like ambient light that you can just kind of see wherever you look doesn't translate into the reflection of the mirror, but you can see that there is some sort of lever behind it in like the opposite position of where it would be on the side you're facing. There's no light behind it either.
Caitlin has definitely learned this in the field and not on other students. They're going to beckon Bellamy over and point at the lighter and see if they can maybe angle some of the light off the lighter, reflect it through the mirror to get any better sense of what's on the other side.
Alright, and Bellamy will do just that if he can.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is no roll.
Yeah. So you can easily do this to see what little there is to see with a halfway decent reflected light. Bellamy, as you go to help, however, you notice that you reach out and pass off the lighter just to get a little bit of ambient light reflecting in. And as you do, it was not in this pocket. You're not sure how it got in that pocket, but the coin just falls out and tinks to the floor, just ting, ting, and starts to roll a little bit before it settles in part of the tunnel.
One sec. Keith, here. Hold. And wait. Does Cat recognize a coin? If it was technically turned in?
It technically was. So, Cat, you noted like this coin that Bellamy dropped. It is dark, so I think it's only fair that you roll for me to like discern the details of this particular thing. So you can roll a survey.
All right. Survey. Let's go. 4.
You see that coin fall out of Bellamy's pocket, and for a second you think, like, oh, okay, they just dropped a coin. You know, no big deal. But something about that coin catches your eye, and for a second you swear you've seen it before, and it's not a quarter. It's not a quarter. It's not a dollar. It's not any sort of like pound coin or pence or anything. It looks like an artifact. It looks like an artifact that Bellamy handed in maybe like not quite 2 weeks ago, maybe about 10 days ago.
So this just drops, right?
Yes. So you, as a kind of above table question, how likely is it that Bellamy would, like, given the nature of Bellamy's work for the family, how likely is it that if things had gone wrong, word would have gotten to Kate, to Katrina, about like, hey, so a bunch of stuff happened?
I would say that Kat usually gets the pared down version, like the top level report, so to speak, whereas Colin would get the
Colin
nitty-gritty.
gets everything, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Colin gets everything. Kat gets something bad happened. This is the end result. Don't look too closely at it.
Okay, that's sort of what I was thinking too.
Mhm.
So what you would be aware of in regards to this coin is almost a week, a little bit over a week ago, Bellamy and the group had returned, having gone or rather, Bellamy and the group had several weeks ago gone out to collect an artifact on Colin's word. So they came back alone, and Colin basically took the artifact, brought it to you, Katrina, and he flat out said, we're not going on any excursions for a while. Like, things weren't good. Here's the artifact. You know, like, keep your head, like, just he can't tell Kat to lay low, because Kat doesn't do anything that draws attention to herself. But Colin would have tried to impress upon you, like, okay, something happened, And I need you to be safe. I need you to be careful. And that's about as in detail as he would have gone, and he would have handed you that coin.
Which I now see
That's the
falling out
artifact.
of Bellamy's pocket.
Yes.
Uh,
You definitely didn't give it back to Bellamy.
Kat sees this coin drop down and immediately goes to pick it up. And does Bellamy stop her?
Bellamy is pushing the lighter into Katniss' hands and is rushing to get it.
So she picks up this coin and she looks at it and she looks over at Bellamy, and Colin's words come back to her a little bit. Wait, hold on a second. Mr. Montagna, where'd you get a hold of this coin?
Bellamy's gonna struggle for words. It was on my person. I think Colin put it in my pocket.
Well, I find that a wee bit hard to believe, given to the fact that Colin gave me this coin. Was it within the week, Joe?
Oh, yeah.
Within the very same week that we're in now. And he told me, now that I think about it, that we should all be laying low and staying safe. And she looks up at the door. I've got a terrible feeling about this. Maybe we should head back the way we came, at least for the evening. Come back with a couple more of the fellas from, well, your side of the business, Mr. Montagna.
Belle's gonna shove his hands into his pocket and he'll look towards the door and to Keith. Is
Charlie, please stop looking at the titty coin.
It's literally the character trait.
It's the dynamic character flaw. I have to stare at the titty coin.
Kate is still focused on trying to creep on with ours on the other side of the door.
So, Kate, while that's happening, Kate, you are very focused on this door, and like the background noise, the conversation has almost completely faded into background noise. As you bring that lighter down and flick it and get a little bit of a spark, you see for a half second that it's not super bright, but it does seem like it could provide enough light. You flick it again, you flick it a third time, and then the actual light finally catches, and you hold it up to the mirror and peek under the door. Kaith, what you see, in that brief instance, you have light. You see under the door mostly darkness, save for another mote of light, as if there's a lighter on the other side of the door. And you hold that lighter there and hold the mirror out, and you can see two flames in the mirror. You have the flame in your hand, but the mirror shows two, as if someone on the other side of the door is also holding up a lighter.
Ooh.
Oh man, I really want to open the door.
While Keith is contemplating this, Belle's gonna watch Kat to see which pocket the coin is being put into.
Kat is going to I imagine she's got like a coat pocket or something like that. It's going to be
Mhm.
like inner coat pocket. The one that's like with the coat closed is like right above the titty.
It is the titty coin.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
it's become the titty coin, I guess.
He's taken the coin from you, Bellamy. And it doesn't make your skin crawl with anger, but it does it you feel it in your body, that like almost raised hackles, kind of like, oh boy, oh, really wish that we could just not have had this interaction. Sure wish that I could have just not had that fall out of my pocket. That would be just way better for me and for you and for everyone. But here we fucking are.
Belle's gonna fish out another cigarette. Are we heading back or what?
Kat will frown, look over to Caithness. Caithness, are you alright with coming back in an hour or two? Perhaps with a bit more help, more equipment?
This is one of the times where we say, please be normal, Kate. Isn't it?
I'm not asking you to be normal, I'm just asking you to think things through. What if you walk through that door and you fall into a pit of nothingness?
There's
Hey.
another light on the other side.
Keith, roll me a survey check. What color are your eyes, Keith?
Sort of a very dim purple. Almost like an albino's.
When you hold that lighter there, you see the reflection of two lights in the mirror, as if someone on the other side was holding a lighter as well. And you see one of those lights go out. The light that you're not holding vanishes. And for a second, you get a little bit concerned, like, I don't know, did I imagine it? I don't think I imagined it. That was very clearly there. And then in the little bit of light that is reflected off of your mirror from the lighter and cast onto the other side of the door, you see a very blurry shape. It's hard to make out, but after a second you can parse it. You see someone looking into the mirror, looking through that mirror onto the other side of the door, and they have purple eyes, or at least a purple eye.
Kate smiles into the reflection, but at length breaks it off to look up at Kat.
Kat will tilt her head, hands on her hips. Well, how about it? We can investigate this thing later, but if we come back later, have more people, we'll be able to get better documentation on whatever it is.
Do you think it'll still be here later?
Kat frowns. I can't say that for sure. Can anybody? But what I will say is I've already lost far too many people to go gallivanting off down a dark tunnel to who knows where.
I will be normal today. Kate stands and flicks the lighter shut and hands it back to Bellamy. They don't really think because they don't really need it right now, that they are just plunging the other two into darkness.
Cat will pat Bellamy, not Bellamy, Caithness on the back. There. It's not so bad, is it? And, like I said, you don't have to be normal, you just have to be safe.
Ignorance is excruciating.
And you know what else is excruciating? 8 funerals in 2 years.
Ooh.
You looking to make it 9?
That would only be the case if I was your sister, wouldn't it?
Your family either way.
What flowers would you leave for me?
Cat thinks for a second. Night bloomin' ones. Seem to suit you just fine. Not that we'll be needing them anytime soon.
It's a good choice. Let's go back.
We start heading back.
Okay. You start heading back the way to the entrance, the curved slope of the tunnel. You haven't made it so far that you can't see it, even with the slight curvature of the tunnel, which you didn't really notice when you were walking away. It felt like you were walking in a straight line, but as you walk back, you can all very clearly see that there's a slight listing turn, like it's listing gently to the left as you walk backwards. You make it back. There's no other hubbub as you get right back to where you had came, and you see that slope upward into the historical society, or what was the historical society. I want to bring you back here. And I'll say, with some difficulty, you are all at least decently well equipped enough that you can scramble your way out. It's a bit of a steep climb, but Kaith has like survey and exploring gear, which I imagine would at least come with some kind of rope, or at least like rudimentary climbing material or supplies, climbing supplies.
Yeah, it ought to have something like that, considering they're liable to run into stuff like this and ruins and all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you walk back and you make it up and scramble up through the hole. It feels like you spent a lot more time down there than you realistically did. You, all things considered, probably spent less than an hour down there, but getting back up through the hole and outside, it seems like when you had went in, it seemed like it was right around lunch, I think, maybe after lunch. Um, and now it seems like it's a lot closer to like supper time.
As they all emerge, Kat will take another couple steadying breaths. Right, it's fine. It's all going to be fine. We'll just fetch some more of the lads, and that'll be that.
Is there anything else you wanted to do while you were still in the historical society?
We should take another look around, I think. See if there's anything else we can figure out, perhaps?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So you know that the other area, or there's two areas. There's the upstairs area, which has like a kind of like a more open floor plan gallery, and then you have the downstairs area, which is more of like a museum style. Like you walk through and there's placards and like there's a little seating area. It seems like the upstairs area is where you would meander and have like a simple like cocktail and whack poetic about historical things. And in the bottom area, the first floor, you would have the leisure to like actually peruse some artifacts and learn or walk out into the like the little courtyard to see the big statue. But there are other artifacts that your family had procured and donated, well, quotation marks, donated to the Historical Society.
Let's check on those and see if any of the others are missing.
Okay. So, checking on those, there are unfortunately two or three that are, or at least two or three that have been damaged. Not damaged in a way that seems like, you know, sabotage, like people had come in here with the express purpose of destroying that artifact, so much as when the fight had broken out, this particular artifact maybe got caught in the crossfire. You can roll me, let me see. Focus or survey or sense. I will accept any of those roles as you are kind of meandering about the scene.
Let's see.
I could also be convinced to accept if strike, to like understand and kind of theorize the violence that had gone on here and what may have happened, to get like a more physical idea of what transpired to damage some of these artifacts.
Well, you're not going to catch me Cumberbatching. But you might catch Kate's Nest doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I will roll sense. I don't have any drives left, so at least, yeah. Wait, I have two. Yeah, I'll hold off.
Mm-hmm.
All right, 4. It's not bad.
But that does get you a drive back.
Oh, nice.
Provided I assume you're taking the 4 from the gilded and not the 4 from the not gilded.
Yes,
I take the other 4.
Let's do that. I'll take the 4 from the gilded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you'll restore a drive. And that is your sense roll. You are going through the scene here, and this is still a very, very visceral area. But looking at just the artifacts and assessing the kind of state of the artifacts, they seem, for the most part, minus the one or two that are strictly damaged as a result of the scrap, all of the artifacts that you recall having arranged, which you would have had a very direct hand in that, Kat, you would have very much been involved in the process of like, oh, this group of people want that artifact, cool, and you would arrange it, and then the actual handoff and such things would be facilitated partly by Colin and some of Colin's boys. But there are a few that of the ones here, they are pretty much all accounted for in one form or another. And these ones are largely the ones that are remaining here are largely remnants of like ancient societies. Like we're talking like old like Grecian statues, or old like petrified pieces of wood from a wooden boat that was significant in some form or another, models of like pieces of technology that were salvaged, any sort of thing like that, and a few pieces of more esoteric things like stone calendars, or like tablets with ancient scrawlings on them, but nothing very esoteric. These were very like, I don't want to say run of the mill sort of jobs for Bellamy in a way, but it is the more mundane of the incredibly not mundane thing that Bellamy does.
So it's mostly the esoteric documents that are missing, and the rest is just sort of incidental damage, right?
Yes, yeah, this is very much like all of the artifacts that you had donated here are there, except for the ones that pertained to church history, that were specifically religious documents, and were specifically old Christianity, like Christian historic documents. Those are very conspicuously missing, and there's no scrap or indication that like they were destroyed. They're just gone.
Kat will take out a small notebook as she's perusing and make sure to note down these missing items. And as she's taking note of them, she'll look over to the others. Sure does seem strange. The only things are missing are Christianity documents.
Maybe they were very devout ghouls.
Kat tilts her head. Devout ghouls.
You couldn't possibly be suggesting that the church had something to do with this, could you?
Well, I'm not suggesting nothing. You're the one who said the words aloud.
I guess I'll be the one branded a heretic then.
Don't you already have that one going for you?
Not everywhere.
I thought it was a point of pride.
And how could you say such a thing?
Missed the first part of that. I heard, how could you say such a thing?
The first part is just cousin.
Oh. Well, it's just always, whenever you send a letter back, you're always talking about, these people find you strange, these people find you strange, these people keep calling you stuff. Now, I'll go over there, and I'll defend you, and I'll send Colin to defend you, because I know that, really, you're just curious, and a little bit, uncommon. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'd gotten the impression that you liked it when people called you a heretic.
And just when I was trying to be normal. But don't worry, I don't need defending. I joined the Pancration Club.
Are you wrestling?
Sometimes. Sometimes it's just striking.
Cat just blinks a couple times. Ah. That sounds like a good outlet for some of your stronger feelings. And she seems a little confused as she looks toward Bellamy.
Bellamy, how are you holding up with a slowly but surely diminishing amount of cigarettes and no coin in your pocket?
Bellamy has been looking for an opening attempt to take it back. He's just biding his time right now. But it's when earlier Kate, nope.
It's not just me. I'm not the only one.
When Kat was talking about losing people, I think that was the first time that he was pissed off with her. Really, who has she lost? But he is keeping to himself, watching, mostly eyes on Kat.
As Kat looks over to Bellamy for some sort of reassurance or bailing out in this conversation. She finds none. I'm guessing.
Yeah, he offers nothing.
Sounds like he's just kind of giving her the eyes.
She will frown a little bit. Sigh. Right. Then let's try and get this matter settled. Mr. Montagna, could we be finding another way into this place, or perhaps leaving a back door, so to speak, so that we don't have to bother those fine gentlemen out front again?
Bellamy will look around, and can he find anything that they
Looking around, you don't even have to roll for this, as you can sneak up like around the corner and peering through the several like doorways that all kind of intersect like right here. You can tell that those two guards, they're still standing there. They look slightly more well, I was gonna say they're still wearing their full face masks. Yeah, they're both still standing there at attention, facing away.
think we can figure something out. Are you done
Good.
stalling?
Stalling? Who's stalling? I'm trying to get a look at what we've lost.
Papers, right? Thought we went over this before we went down the hall.
Papers, yes, but also specific papers. It's good to have specific details when you're filing a report against the church, wouldn't you think?
Back to the museum then.
Right, back to the museum. I'll be having a word with Colin about your borrowing habits.
Okay, so you all head back to the museum. I need to go to this one. So, you walk through the city, and in the amount of time that you had spent meandering through and investigating and trying to find the papers, the guards don't stop you. They don't seem to have any issue with you just leaving, unless you are wanting to talk to them on your way out. You can make it out without even confronting them.
Should we tell them that we're going to be back later? I don't think so. I think we just try and do a stealth mission on the way back. What do you guys think?
I'm biased. I want stealth mission.
I mean, these guys are affiliated with the church from what we know from their armor, right?
So I don't think we should let them know that we're on to them. Charlie, what do you think?
Yeah, stealth sounds good.
All right. So we'll head back to talk with Colin and figure out our next step.
Okay. So you head back to the museum. As you're leaving, those guards, they do nothing to slow you down or stop you. They don't even inquire as to if you found the things that you were looking for. They simply let you go. And walking through town, it almost feels, I want to say like like you're walking in a bit of a haze. There's no like fog or mist or anything about the city, but having been underground, having seen that strange bored tunnel, it almost gives you like a feeling of agoraphobia, like being out in an open air place, with like no roof and people milling about. But the day has since grown not dark, but as time had gone on, a cloud cover had come over the sky, and it kind of paints the city in a dull gray light. I do not have an image for the coin. This is the perfect one. But as you are walking through the town, you can see that the church has continued their stalwart patrol of the city. And so let me ask you this. Of the three of you, who would have the strongest connection to the house? Like the Fower Estate.
This is probably Keith, right?
Yeah.
Keith, not Cat. Keith.
Yeah, Keith could navigate the house without any trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So even though Kat was raised in the house and Bellamy came over a lot, I think it would probably be Keith who understood the house the best, so to speak.
Ah, okay. So you all make it back to the hotel, or not hotel, museum. Totally wrong thing. Make it back to the museum. Um, People don't seem to harass you much, Kat. If at all, like not really. They harassed your family a lot, specifically your parents, but you have a little bit of that, uh, a little bit of anonymity going on right now, in that you're not flanked by the incredibly recognizable members of your family. So as long as you aren't flashing your name around, it seems like you can kind of mill about and pass through the throngs of people and not risk anything popping off. At least not right away. Um, and it's not too long of a walk, but once you make it back to the museum, and you all start to head inside, there is there's a like like a tittering in the back of your mind, Cathus. And it's that familiar sense that you got when you first arrived here. But it's accompanied by a sense that you haven't felt in a long time, many years, but one that is intimately familiar with you. Uh, it is almost like the calling of the estate. When you would navigate the house, you would just kind of know when you were supposed to take a turn or open a door, or even in some cases when you were supposed to leave the room you were in. And you're having that sensation like you're walking around the house now, even though you're, like, in a strict literal sense, nowhere near it. And you look and just notice that some of the doors and windows of nearby buildings, they they feel like they're all watching you in this moment. And these doors or other thresholds kind of beckon to you. And you're stuck on the thought of, like, that door back in that hole. And why does it feel like the house is calling to you now? Is the house related to this? Is it related to that hole? It doesn't seem like it would be. Nothing about the house seems like an old world city. It doesn't have any of those hallmarks to it.
But it was part of the old world.
The pieces of it, individual components of the Fower estate, were very much buildings from before the Weirdning. So while it wasn't part of an old world city, it is an old part, or it is a part of the old world. You're very much correct.
And one that chose a new place to spring up in.
Mm-hmm. You're not sure because you've never measured it, because you kind of never needed to, and feel like it would be difficult or fraught to try. But the Fower estate, it is within a mile-ish of the edge of the city. It would be slightly longer than a mile, but it could maybe be related to some of this weirdness that is happening with that tunnel.
What direction did the tunnel lead in?
The direction the tunnel led in, best that you could tell, when you climbed in it, it looked like it just went straight north. But when you were walking back down the tunnel, it would have had to pitch to the east somehow.
What direction is the estate in?
If you are looking at the city map, which I don't have in this setup yet. If you're looking at the city map, the estate is to the northeast of Termarkt.
So, not entirely not in the same direction.
Yes, it is. When you were in the tunnel and looking at it, it looked like it went straight north, and as you were walking back, it seems like you must have been walking east at least a little bit. So technically, it could be. There are unusual tricks that are played on the mind when one is in the house, and there are also similar tricks played on the mind when people navigate through old world cities. So, who knows?
Caithness always felt welcome in the old house. They can't really bring themselves to think it would be a bad thing if Termark disappeared.
So, as you all enter back into your museum with your various creeping senses about you, the museum doesn't seem to be busy at this point. Colin is manning the front desk / counter area, and he's wearing most of his three-piece suit. He has, in true tradition, decided to do without the suit coat and roll up the sleeves a bit to make himself a bit more comfortable in his garment. As you walk back in, Colin notices you all and just goes, "Oh, I see you're all back now. Well, now to go."
About as well as it could have gone. All in one piece. So that's good. But I think we'll be needing to borrow a few of the lads for later.
He kind of, there's a squint in his eye, and you can see his eyes dart to Bellamy and dart back to you. And he doesn't look down his nose, but he tilts his chin up a little bit. And that's not a gesture of like intimidation from Colin, but that is a gesture of like kind of like calling your bluff, calling you on your bullshit. Like, hold on, do you? But he tilts his head up and his chin forward a little bit and says, "Why do you need extra helping hands? You got one with you?"
I have got one with me, though I'd be needing to have a word with you about that once all this is through. But we found a tunnel beneath the Historical Society. Runs at least a mile east, would you say it was, Caithness?
It led north, but it seemed also to go east.
Would northeast then be a good estimation?
Maybe.
Kat looks from Keith to Colin. Oh, call it northeast then. About 20 minutes walk, we found a door, and not one that you might see around these parts. Solid metal, rusted over, ugly as sin. Caithness said they saw somebody behind it. I'm thinking whoever did all of that in the Historical Society might have come through that tunnel. And if that's the case, well, they were quite a discerning customer. Seems they only took anything related to Christianity.
Colin, squints at this. There's a lot about this that he doesn't seem to latch onto very well, or very enthusiastically. He appraisingly looks over you all. He looks at Bellamy and then looks back to you, Kat. You found a tunnel in the Historical Society. And in the tunnel you found a door. And on the other side of the door, you think there's someone else down there. Is that about right? And it went northeast, you said? Or thereabouts?
Kat will nod. That's the size of it. Turns to the other two. Did I forget anything?
Oh, that's pretty much it.
I
He
think
looks
I
over.
was on the other side of that door.
Colin looks over to you, Kate, and says, "Well, what you mean?"
Have you ever had the feeling, Uncle Colin, when you look into the mirror, that those can't be your eyes staring back at you? Do you recognize yourself when you look into a mirror?
Uncle Colin is a very straightforward, no-nonsense business kind of man. He is someone who prefers to use fewer words when the opportunity presents itself. He has also, at some point, lived or been in the manor or the estate. And in the period where he stayed in the estate, he also had his fair share of unusual experiences. So when you say that, Cathus, he scans you really, really hard. And he is, in a sense, he is trying to read you. Cathus isn't lying. Are they?
No, they've been thinking about the times they used to try to peek under doors back when they were in the estate. And in the back of their mind, they're wondering, maybe I did see myself back then, and maybe I'm seeing myself now.
Uncle Colin stares at you, and there is a very, very long pause. But he says, "I don't look in mirrors no more." And he scratches the underside of his chin and neck where you can see the scruff has grown in. There's a habit that you know of, Cat, because you see Uncle Colin quite a bit, and you know of Bellamy because you work with him. Uncle Colin never shaves and keeps the beard. He never grooms it or maintains it. He either shaves himself clean and it grows in, or he either shaves himself completely clean when he does, or he lets it grow in. And there's never any sort of preening or shaping of his facial hair at all. Same with his hair. He very much cuts it when it is too long, and he keeps it very much simple. And the thought of him not looking in mirrors anymore, it would explain why he doesn't groom himself in that way. It's a small detail, but you could see how he goes about not looking in mirrors. He just has learned how to do everything he needs without a mirror.
As this detail comes out, Kat looks between Colin and Keith and goes, "Wait a second, are you thinking and the pieces start to put together for her that the estate is somewhat in that direction. You're not thinking it's something to do with the house, are you?"
He looks at you, Kat, and he looks at Keith, and then at you again. "I don't know what to think. All I know is we got a lot of stuff missing." And he looks over to Bellamy, and he looks like he was about to say something else. And then he turns back to you, Cat, and says, "All I know is we got a lot of stuff missing, and we're short-handed. If you need boys, it's going to take me a bit to drum some up. Or not, I can help you. We'll just close up the shop here." He pats the countertop.
Kat looks around to the others. As much as I'd like to have your help, wouldn't it be better not to put all our eggs in one basket, so to speak, owing to the recent troubles?
He kind of stares into the middle distance for a second, just kind of letting his eyes kind of scan just some spot on the floor between you all. And he reaches into his chest pocket and pulls out a cigar case. And he'll stick a partially used cigar in his mouth and absentmindedly light it, and he'll say, "What was that word you just used? Fortunate circumstances."
I believe I said the recent troubles.
Nods. "A lot of recent troubles lately." He looks over to you, Kat. Kat, you roll me a read check really quick.
Sure.
double sixes.
Why did I get a double 6 on this?
It was meant to be. You know Uncle Colin. You fucking see the man's soul laid bare before you. And in that moment where he says recent troubles, he simply verbally restates the exact words you said. But when he looks up at you and you catch the look in his eye, there is a deeply harbored fear that you can see it's you don't know how you never noticed it before, but you look now and you can see very plainly that he is afraid that recent troubles are a bad sign for the family. It's not just the immediate family, like the siblings dying, or tension between the matron and patron of the family, or like new businesses and prospects coming to replace old businesses. He's like, all of this change, this is something of like a comeuppance or a reckoning that we have brought on ourselves. And that fear in him has always been there. He is the person who has always been willing to help the family and take on as much as he can and carry as much of a load as he can carry. But when you see his eyes, you can see that fear has metastasized into something far bigger now than it ever had been before.
This cat looks at Colin and sees this internal struggle within him. She feels a familiar weight start to settle about her shoulders, and she just stands a little taller, puts on a brighter face. Well, we can't be letting all of this get in the way now, can we? You've done plenty for the family already, Uncle Colin. How's about you get a good night's rest, and we'll handle the matter then. Especially if you'll be needing a while to find people. We might as well try and see what we can find out in the meantime. And it wouldn't hurt to take a look at the estate.
Blinks for a second and puffs on the cigar. He doesn't disagree with you. He doesn't say no, but there is just a slight shake of the head, and it's more at himself than anything. And he just goes, "Feels like all I've been doing is resting. Call me the shovel, and you just put the shovel in the shed, huh?"
What would you be preferring to do? Go down into the tunnel yourself? Take a look at that door? On your lonesome?
He looks over at you all, and there's a part of him that is resigned to it, and he just goes, you don't have to roll read for this. You can just read the sense of duty he has on his person, or in his like affect as a person, is very much like, okay, if you tell me to do it, I'll fucking do it, I guess. But he's not gonna ask you to tell him. I just do what I have to. Do what I'm asked to.
That's right. And you've been doing that for how long now? As long as I've been alive. So, if you're taking a day or two of rest, I don't think that's such a bad thing now, do you? In comparison to the rest?
He looks over at you all. I ain't mentioned this before. I try to keep your mum and dad business out of your hair. He looks at Keith and Bellamy, and the look is one that you you, Bellamy, are intimately familiar with. It is the look that is like, I'm about to say something that does not leave this room. But he trusts you. And he looks back at you, Kat. Your mom and dad been talking to some powerful people. Higher upper than they used to talk. One of them's some governor. District something or other. Can't remember all of it. All of the bells and bells and whistles on his title or whatnot. But he squints his eyes. Your family, your mom and dad, they've been talking to this governor. And they've been getting into something. Something foul. I can't say what. I'm not part of their dealings. But I don't know much about the sort of things that the house, the estate, is. But they're dabbling in it. And he looks over to you, Keith. And he kind of shakes his head, and he looks like he's about to admit something, and he just goes, I hope it wasn't a mistake to get you to come here. And he looks to you, Kat, again. Pushed your mother to reach out to someone who I think might be able to help. Someone who knows better. I had to push real hard.
As he says this, Kat's eyes narrow, not in suspicion or anything, but in understanding. And she nods. Right. I'll do my best. I've always had a way of persuading the folks, haven't I?
He nods. I don't know if you can get a seat with this governor, but he's involved somehow, one way or another. Can't prove it, but I know he's involved. That historical society's in his district. And Bellamy, at that mention, you don't need a name to know who he's talking about. You know exactly the governor he's talking about.
Has Bellamy met her dad?
Not in person, but you know, you know the dad. And the daughter has very pointedly been like, we don't need to worry about him. Don't worry about it.
I'm sorry, can we run it back? RQ.
Yeah. Where you want to run it back to?
What's going on with Gloria's dad?
So Colin admitted that he knows mom and dad of the Kinslas are involved with some weird occult shit with that governor. And he has been trying to keep it on the down low, but he knows that they are up to some occult shit. He doesn't understand it or know anything more about it, just that it's happening. And he thinks that the governor and your parents are scheming something. There's like a soft, almost guilt-ridden sense that he's admitting this because he feels like part of the reason bad things keep happening to the family is because they have been pushing further and further into this whatever occult thing. At least that's what Colin thinks.
Has Gloria ever indicated any kind of interest towards the occult?
No. She's, well, passingly yes. She has expressed like minor interest in it, but nothing more than like your average like tarot card enthusiast, right? Like, this is the person who's like, it's cool, it's interesting. I like it more than what is the typical mundane day-to-day sort of thing that people get used to. But it's not even like an academic pursuit, more like a flight of fancy. Gloria is very, very fixated on more direct political influence.
Alright, Belle's gonna look to Colin, then back to Kat, and the area where that pocket would be. Keep his mouth shut.
Need to look up, make sure that I get the name right. Zampano, yes.
Mhm.
Willem Joseph Zampano is the governor of District 5. And you, Kate, or Kat,
Yes.
you would know, you would be aware of that because it's like very much aware of it's very hard to not know most of the very, very active governors, and Willem Zampano is, as of late, very, very prolific in his specific like desire to be influential. And yeah, the Historical Society is in his district.
Cat nods. Oh, you could probably get a seat at the table. Well, at the very least, a polite courtesy luncheon.
Colin nods. Whatever you do, be careful. He kind of looks to the ground, and there's concern, very plain. As he furrows his brow. There's a lot of stuff going on here that I don't understand. There's a lot more stuff that I'm worried might be going on behind the scenes. Stuff that even I ain't known about.
Oh, for tonight, how's about you come back to the estate with us? That way, you can get a bit of investigating and stretch the legs, if you're so keen on making use of yourself.
He furrows his brow, and he contemplates it for a good minute, but he nods.
Kat looks around after he nods, claps her hands together.
Then it's settled. We'll have a look around the estate. Mr. Montagna, you ever been?
Plenty of times, Cat.
Kat raises a brow at this, but doesn't say anything.
So you know to keep your wits about you then.
Sure.
Looks to the other two.
Will you be needing a bite before we go?
I owe Colin some alcohol. Is it?
Colin like points a finger and nods once, very much like, yeah, you do.
Where would you bite me?
Kat thinks for a moment.
I suppose most of the fat would be... on most people, it's on the cheeks, but you don't got any there. Upper arm, maybe.
Oh no, that's all muscle now.
Jesus Christ, what do they have you doing at that club?
Beating people into the dirt, mostly.
Kat laughs and pats them on the back and goes,
Alright, so somebody's keeping the family business alive then. You see, Colin, you've got yourself a successor.
He looks over to you, Kate, and he kind of like silently snorts, like has that like kind of gesture, and he doesn't look like he would be unhappy with that. He looks like he could totally be fine with Kathis being a successor. He rubs the back of his neck, though, and he looks around the museum and looks at you, Kat, and says, "Well, if we're making to head up to the estate, geez, we've not really made much in the way of business today. It's been pretty dead here. If we need to close up shop, we can close up."
so he's saying we haven't done very much business and we could close up. But I'm guessing we could also stay open for a little bit.
Yeah, he's kind of leaving it up to you to decide, and with like the implication of like, hey, we can go to the estate now, or we can like ship off and do something else, or we can keep this open and try and not make your a mom and dad upset. He's very much like he's itching to act. He does not like being idle. And so he's kind of in one way asking for permission to do something, but also like, I don't want to leave you here.
Kat will nod.
Well, I can man the shop for a bit. How about you take these other two over to the estate, and I'll meet up with you later.
Narrows his eyes and looks at the other two. What do Kathis and Bellamy think? A late night reconnaissance visit to the manor, or not the manor, to the funnel.
Kate is all about going back into that tunnel. They're okay if, like, they just had to go alone and nobody else would be there.
That was their plan the whole time.
What?
The second
No.
everyone else went to bed.
I guess you're really twisting my arm about it.
I guess you guys are all going to be busy with other stuff. You got other things to investigate. I guess I'll just, I'll take one for the team. I'll go investigate the tunnel alone.
But yeah, you guys could totally do that if you wanted. Like, the three of you could go into the tunnel while Kat mans the front of house. Which is probably usually how things happen.
Bellamy.
Mr. God.
You're quiet, Chuck.
Oh, you were a small Charlie.
You're still small.
You're so small.
It's better or worse?
Sí.
Oh, that's perfect.
Aquí estamos.
Wait, so I'm confused. Are we going back to the estate or the tunnel?
Kat said you could go back to the estate, but
I
But
misheard.
Keith wants to go to the
go
tunnel.
to the tunnel. And Joe also suggested going to the tunnel. So it could very well be, because above table, I'm fine with whatever. It's just that Kat has chronic responsibility disease and does not want to investigate the tunnel, at least not without further backup. But if you guys want to do that, then Kat, as long as you meet Kat in the tunnel before her shift, as long as you meet Kat back at the estate before her shift is done, then she wouldn't know the difference.
Okay. Bellamy is going to rub his chin. And look towards Colin. Probably best that you stay here with Kat. I can go with Keith and we can pick some stuff up. I guess we'll meet you back there. Sound good, boss?
He gives you one very hard look, and he is not unimpressed. He nods and totally agrees. Do what you have to. And if you need, he reaches into his pocket and he will withdraw a few extra pounds of money that I have not
Money dollars.
pushed. Yeah. He gives you some credits.
Oh boy, iffy bucks.
Oh wow, these are worthless.
Yeah, I heard the market crash on those.
Your Imperial credits are no good here.
Alright, sack 20 iffy bucks for Torment to Hellfire. Response?
Tef Pro?
Force of Will.
But Uncle Colin gives you enough money to buy and acquire whatever extra gear you think you could need. You just, more than likely, it will be difficult to find spare people, but you could use some of that fund, or some of those funds, to try and get an extra set of hands, like hire a merc or two. You know the spots where Uncle Colin recruits.
Alrighty. Keith, you good to go?
Always.
See you guys later then.
Kat nods to the both of them, but walks over and gives Keith a hug. And then looks to the both of them again. And stay safe, will ya?
Bellamy's gonna drop a fuckboy emoji. What? No hug for me?
Does he
Gosh.
really?
JK, no.
Well, no hug for me. He's like, you want a hug right now? I will hug the shit out of you.
Colin gets up. Okay, fine.
Bellamy only wants to hug Cat so he can feel the TD coin, right?
I mean, the coin now has the warmth of titty on it.
That's true. It's very valuable now to Bellamy.
This game is turning horny in a way I did not imagine it would.
Your titty coin makes my heart go doki doki.
Bellamy looking at the pocket. God, I wish that was me.
Oh gosh. I need the bathroom. I'll be right back.
I will also go use the bathroom. Be right back. Hello.
What's up?
Not much. Hanging.
Okay. Return.
Welcome back.
Mhm. Mm. Ooh, perfect. Let's do this one.
Back.
All right. Is everyone back?
Here.
Hello.
Hell yeah. Okay. So, we will start with Bellamy and Keith. You both are heading out, grabbing some supplies, and going to one of two locations. My questions to you: what gear, if anything incredibly noteworthy, are you going to get? To me, incredibly noteworthy is like, are you going to hire some people, or are you going to grab like climbing gear and excavation supplies and a few other things like that?
I think Bellamy would be against hiring anyone else, given
Mhm.
the last job.
Mm-hmm.
Kate doesn't think anyone in this city has anything to offer to help them.
So you guys are buying some gear and then heading to where?
Man, it's a tough choice between bad idea and worse idea.
I mean, if you would want to put it to a vote, I know where I would vote.
And as the GM, you get a vote in this.
I mean, it's democracy. Everyone's got to get a vote.
Okay,
That's
Joe,
only fair.
What's your
shush.
vote?
Stop influencing them.
What's your vote?
Does he get a vote?
Yeah, see, what's your vote?
He gets a vote.
What now?
Where do you think we
Tunnel
should go?
or Haunted Mansion?
Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion is always fun.
So we have one vote for Haunted Mansion, and I'm gonna throw a vote for Haunted Tunnel. So those
I'm
cancel each
also-
other out.
Haunted
Alright.
Tunnel.
Kara?
I get a vote?
It's democracy.
Hey, I mean, if we're democracy, we need 5 votes, or else we're going to go even.
It's true.
Let me think. Should we go to the Haunted Mansion or the tunnel? I think Keith really, really wants to go to the tunnel. And so for that reason, here's my best offer. I'll give you 5% for $50,000, and I want $1 royalty on every unit sold.
Okay,
only-
not a Shark Tank audience.
Is that only
Shut
through
your
primary
Shark Tank ass
sales?
up.
I'll vote for Tunnel. I'll vote for Tunnel and I'll mute myself.
Maybe we'll have to go back to watching Shark Tank.
At least they like me there.
Do they? Do you think Mark Cuban is your friend?
Of all of them, I think he would be the only one who could befriend.
That's why he's leaving next season.
Oh. Okay, we have one vote Scary Tunnel from Kira, and your vote, Charlie, was also Tunnel?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
2 votes Tunnel.
We have a plurality for Tunnel.
That's true. We didn't hear your vote, Matt.
My vote is now meaningless.
Not in our hearts. In terms of the count, yes, but in our hearts, it's not.
Your heart gets you nowhere in democracy, Joe. You know that.
Well, I was trying to be nice. I figured it would be extend an olive branch, but I will destroy this olive branch.
You made the mistake of
Sunder
having
it.
to go piss and like interrupt it, and so Matt's come back spicy.
What was I not
This-
spicy before?
I was gonna say, but this is the Matt base level of spice, as far as I'm aware.
This is indeed the base level.
This is not even Kaioken's times 2 of spice. But now that we have a majority vote for Tunnel and 1 vote that is entirely meaningless, is what kind of gear are you both getting? Is there anything from the gear that that you would want to grab that you think is incredibly important to note right now? Because this is just for me to be aware of.
Smokes.
Only the essentials.
I can hear Kira's voice telling us to get pitons.
You need pitons. Don't even fucking think about leaving without pitons.
Before even food.
Yes, you can eat the pitons if you need.
You can have your pitons if I can get my coin back.
Man, for that reason, I'm out.
Lori,
Back
what about
in
you?
Shark Tank.
Pitons, rope, smokes, and Colin seems like a whiskey man.
Colin will drink whatever you give him, but whiskey, particularly any sort of or more specifically like an Irish Scotch or something like that, he would be all about.
Irish and Scotch?
Let him cook.
Okay. So you both grab your respective gear of various levels of importance and head back to the historical society. And as you get there, you can see that the 2 guards are there, still waiting, totally. I can't. Is it implacable? I think is the word. But how are you approaching this?
So you say the guards, are they going to question us if we just walk past them? Or are they relatively the same as before, where can't be bothered?
I don't want to reveal exactly what they'll do, but you're Kathis is you're smart enough to know that the guards, if they're the same two guards, they'll recognize you, but they won't they might wonder or question why you're down a person. And they might ask questions like, where's this person, why aren't they with you? Something. They might question you on that one.
And down the person that actually has the connections and talk to them.
Yes, but most of that questioning is going to be directly because of Katrina's involvement with convincing them to like step aside for a bit. And if that person's gone, they might be like, "Well, hold up." But I'll give you the opportunity to, like, if you want to try and sneak or do some surreptitious stuff before they see you, because as of right now, neither guard sees you.
Oh, you've got hide, right?
I do.
Because I don't.
I have multiple drives to help.
I unfortunately have no drives in cunning, I'm sorry.
I mean, hey, Bellamy, pop off, Monarch.
How many drives can I contribute to a person? It's one, right?
Only one at a time, I believe. The person who is making the check can spend as many drives as they like, but I think you can only contribute one drive per person.
I believe so, yeah. But I think you'd be the one making the check here.
Alright, Bellamy's gonna go for that entrance that they scouted out earlier in the day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you are going to like circumvent around to get to the entrance that you scouted from a different avenue.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and roll me a hide check. There are church patrols going around. You're not doing anything overtly suspicious, but this is more just to see if anyone will at least notice you go in a direction. Anyone important?
Okay. I think I'm gonna go in without any drives.
Word.
Heck yeah.
Busted. So you, with very little issue, you are able to like go from smoothly walking down the city street beside Kathis, and then you deftly like dive down a side street, and you're not like sprinting. You just make sudden movements to duck around a corner, or to move behind something, or to get up on a ledge, and nobody bats an eye. You are more than capable of getting around, circumventing to the other side, and grabbing or getting to the other access area.
Okay, RQ before we go on.
Uh-huh.
My hide is at 3, but it rolled for 2.
It rolled for 2?
Yeah.
I see 3 dice. I see 2d6 and 1 gilded.
I see 2d6 and
I
gilded
thought
as well.
the gilded counted as a separate die.
Mm-hmm. Well, a gilded die is it just means that when you roll and you have a gilded die to roll,
It
you
counts in the
pick-
pool?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So even if you had spent a drive on that one, and you like rolled really low with that extra d6, you could take the gilded because you rolled a 6 on the gilded, so you pass with gusto and get a drive back.
Noted.
Hmm.
Okay. Bellamy is gonna Rapunzel his way and throw a rope out a window for Keith.
Okay. So you slip up the back like they knew you were there. And very, very quickly able to maneuver across the upper level of the upstairs area of the historical society. I don't know why I'm struggling to remember that it's called a historical society, but you run across the room and you can throw like signal to Kaith that you've made it up there. Kaith, from the area you're standing, it's easy enough that you can see in through several of the windows and doors of the historical society, and the guards, like, they won't notice anything because they are facing away from it. So you see Bellamy's signal.
Keith isn't terribly sneaky, but they can climb a rope pretty easily.
Yeah. So I will say, if you want to give me, just give me a move roll. It'll be medium stakes, because if you really biff it, which I don't anticipate, you might slip and fall. But you are probably quite capable.
No, they don't have move.
You have no move?
Look, man.
Yeah, I can throw you a drive.
Sure, I will use the drive as well.
The drive gets you there. So it's a little dicey, pun intended, but you manage to scramble up the side of this the historical society and in through one of the stone parapets or windows. It's not a parapet, really. That'd be too small. But you are both in, and both of you being in here, it like the sun feels like it's setting fast. It's, you can't really see the orange of the setting sun, but there is the gray skies kind of make this, like, you know, that time of day where it starts to kind of turn blue outside because it's just dark. It's kind of doing that. You both make your way over to the tower and go right back to that hole. And the just pressure of it, of like being in the same room of it. It feels like standing on, well, I was gonna say standing on a ledge from a high place, and you have the urge to jump. Call of the Void intensifies, but more than that, it feels like being in the room with some kind of predatory creature, a slumbering bear. But you, with the gear that you have, climbing gear, you can easily unlatch it from the window, scurry back over there, and create a very easy way to climb up and climb out, or climb into and down of this pit. Okay. And we return. We always return to Hull. Question. Did either of you get any sort of better light source, you think?
I don't think that's going to be on Bellamy's mind.
Fair enough.
Kate is fully convinced I can see in the dark down there.
Perfect. Okay. So, you both start walking. It's just as dark as it was before. As you start to make your way down the tunnel, you can both roll me. Let's do a sense check.
What kind of stakes?
This is gonna be... This will be medium stakes. Five and 5.
I got it too.
No, you always take the highest.
No,
Oh, wait.
With no skill, you take lowest.
Oh, no. Rip. So, who goes first down the down the rope? Not ladder, down the rope.
I'm going to assume Keith.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Keith, you climb down the rope, and you feel that tingle in the back of your mind, and you can't prove it. Everything looks the same, but something has changed. Something changed from even the last hour from when you were here. Maybe hour and a half. Let me do... There we go. But as you are down here, you're again not able to put your finger on it, but something has changed. And you are immediately fixated on going back to where that door was. Bellamy, you slide down the rope. And when you land, you feel the cold from the stone. And there is a very deep familiarity yet again. And you're having those flashes in your mind of your trip that you had taken. Bits and pieces come back to you. And you're blinking really rapidly, and for a second you see your face, like you're staring into a mirror. You just look down and you can see there's blood on your hands, and then you can see stonework and stone steps or something. There's darkness all around you, like you're in a cavern. But it's a big, like, it's so vast on the inside of this cavern that you can't see the walls, but you are clearly enclosed because there is no sky. It's just dark. And as you're seeing these flashes and having these moments, like, forcibly revisited to you, you will take 1 brain damage. Or 1 brain mark. And how does this brain mark hit you, Bellamy?
Bellamy's gonna look at his hands and see the blood and start searching himself, hoping to find that familiar comfort. And I'm assuming he can't find it still.
No, keep going.
He'll squeeze at the fabric of his shirt and coat, and I'm gonna assume Kate is not waiting for him. It's getting a bit hard to breathe, and he starts hyperventilating a bit. Keith. Keith, I can't see. Are you there?
I'm here.
Don't go too far from me, okay? And he's rubbing his head and still squeezing at the fabric in his pockets.
Just searching for some kind of emotional ledge that you can grab onto to ground yourself. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Kat, you absentmindedly just reach into your pocket and touch that coin. You almost forgot it was there. Almost. It's still there. And just having it makes you feel calm. Not good, not happy, but it dulls the sharp anxiety in your mind. Like alleviating a headache almost.
Kat will take the coin from her pocket and look at it. Consider it for a second. Keeps hearing what Colin said before about needing to stay, well, safe. Frowns. Remembers Bellamy's expression staring at the coin. And then moves to go put the coin away. Wherever she stored the other one.
You roll me.
What was that sound?
I was thinking for a second. Go ahead and roll me a focus roll.
A focus roll. Okay. Oh, with the creepy music coming back in. Okay. I will spend a drive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The ring said, "Fuck you."
Kat's got everything in order. She's got all her 2s in one place.
All her 2s in a row. So, Kat, you think about it. You really just you don't know how this coin got out of your hands or got out of wherever it was supposed to be, but it's not hard. You've processed it before. Maybe there's been mistakes in the past, not that you can recall, or none that you can recall right now, but whatever. You just kind of push it out of your mind, and you put the coin away. And as you put the coin away and close the drawer, there is it. You know that feeling when you walk into a room and forget why you walked in there?
All the time.
That sensation washes over you, and you were just about to do something. Just after closing that drawer, you were going to go somewhere or going to do something, but you can't for the life of you remember what you were going to do. And that thought is very distracting to you. And in a very subtle way, you feel this encroaching, not pain, but like an encroaching warmth along the back of your shoulders and around your neck, and like somebody with the flat of their hand and their fingers running their hand up the back of your neck and combing their fingers through your hair. Like this warmth grips you. If you were to I want you to describe to me, Kat, how you take one bleed, but how you are not hurting from it.
I love that. That's great. I love that for me. I think Kat, she's taking one bleed and she's not hurting from it. And this is this the intuition one? There's body, brain, bleed, right?
Yeah, this is the intuition one.
Okay. This is 2 out of 3 there, so I don't like that. But I think that as she's trying to remember what this is, she keeps trying to form the memory. And as she's reaching for it, she just feels this sense of dread of, is it happening to me now? Is this forgetting the way that this is going to start for me? Whatever's happened to the rest of my family. Because some of them had unfortunate accidents, but not all of them. One of them has probably ended up in the asylum, and it probably started off not that different from this. And that anxiety comes over Kat, and she really, really wants to remember and can't. And she curses under her breath and just decides to bury it down. Bury it down for now. I'm sure it won't hurt. I'm sure it won't hurt.
You bury that feeling down and try to just move past it. Uncle Colin has gone to run some errands around different parts of the museum. He's still here. He's just not in the room. But you're here, and everything is fine. Everything is good. And the front door to the museum opens. And before we see who it is, we're going to cut back to our tunnel friends. In the tunnel, Kaith, you are doggedly trying to get back to where that door was, with Bellamy scrambling behind after you. It's dark, and Bellamy, though it is dark, you are also noticing that it's not easy to see, but you are able to maneuver. You have that ambient light sort of thing too, where no matter where you look, you're always able to see just enough that you're able to kind of maneuver. And it is difficult to maneuver, or not difficult, but it is awkward to walk down this tunnel. This tunnel is curved all the way around. It's not meant for walking. It's not meant to be traversed. If it was, it would have pathway, but no, this is a strange shape. And despite it, you are here. But at least you're not alone. You have Cathus, who you know well enough. And as you kind of start to calm down, you notice something. As you are catching up, and Cathus, you can hear the footsteps of Bellamy as they catch up to you. They're still a bit behind you. But as you are catching up, Bellamy, you reach into your pocket, and where before it was empty, there is now that coin. And that's where it came from. That calm sensation is because you have your coin again. Just where it always has been. And you're not sure when you got it back, but you're not too concerned about it. Now go. Sorry.
Bellamy's breath will hitch once he touches a coin, but it fades away and melts into that calm. And when he might have slowed down a bit when he realized it was there, but then there's now a skip to his step, and if the tunnel's wide enough, will be at Kate's side, and he is constantly squeezing that coin. Intervals of 3.
Yeah, the tunnel is certainly wide enough for you to both walk side by side, or very close to it. Kate, as you are walking, and you feel Bellamy catch up to you, and they are now by your side. They seem a lot more relaxed. As you are moving through this tunnel, there is a growing sense of anticipation. Like all of this anxiety, or really it's hard to call it anxiety because it's not like it's not like it's making you nervous or anxious. It's more that you are just feeling this buildup, almost like you're filled with potential energy for something. You just don't know what it is quite yet. But as you are walking down this tunnel, and it's still straight, just as it was straight before, you get closer and closer, and you notice that before you didn't realize you had passed the door, but now as you're looking for it, you can see that recessed spot that sticks out to you. When you see that recessed spot, though, it looks slightly different. Like the dark shape of the door, or where the door should be, it looks slightly off. And as you get closer and closer, you start to better parse why it looks off. And you both, Bellamy and Kaith, see this as you get right up to it. The door's open.
don't suppose you ran up ahead and opened that?
Maybe it was the me from the other side of the door. I knew if we left that I'd miss something.
Say the you?
In the mirror, I saw my own eye on the other side.
For the first time, Bellamy takes his hand out of his pocket and he rubs the back of his neck. Hmm. Knowing you, I feel like you want to go into the door, but should ask anyway. Should we wait for Kat and Colin?
What can we see on the other side of the doorway? You mentioned before that the vision assistance didn't work through the mirror. Can we see through the doorway?
Looking at the door from where you are, it just seems like a deep, dark portal. There, on the other side, the immediate other side of the threshold, there is a continuation of that concrete sort of stone like floor, but it doesn't seem it seems like slightly different, maybe a different tint or color, but if you were to step into but there is one thing that you notice very, very clearly. The first thing that you notice is you look past that threshold. Your vision, like, it shows mostly darkness, much in the same way that if you point a flashlight down a dark passage, it won't illuminate if it's too far. But when you look in that, just past the threshold, you can see that the ground is flat. Whereas where you're standing right now, the floor is curved.
What direction does the other tunnel go in? Is it parallel or does it angle off?
It seems to be perpendicular. So if you like look into and peer around, it seems like the darkness, you can't see any walls or ceiling, only the floor, which stays level. It doesn't decline or ascend in any way. But looking left and right and forward and up, you get the sense that and I'll sketch this really quick just so give you a very clear idea. You get the sense that, like, the passage you're on is here, and the doorway kind of sits here, like recessed slightly into the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And when you poke your head in, when you poke your head in and look, you think that the actual pathway would go in this direction.
Okay.
Like, you would imagine that you just feel in, like, in the pit of your soul, like there is a wall to the left and a wall to the right, and if you were to go high enough, there would even be a ceiling. But you know that there's something further in. You just have to keep going.
Alright, Kate is going to take a piece of chalk from her research supplies and just toss it through the doorway into that tunnel.
Yeah, when you toss the chalk, it clatters and then cracks and snaps. As it's very brittle, it doesn't seem to do anything else. It's still usable, despite being cracked.
As much as I'd like to, I did promise to be normal today. Normal, boring Caithness.
I'd argue it's more normal for you to want to go into there.
Well, we can't always have what we want, can we?
Says who?
That was awfully quick. What is it that you want down here?
Bellamy crosses his arms. Not entirely sure. A bit nostalgic, isn't it? Us exploring, I guess, the unknown.
It is just like old times, isn't it? I wonder if we had gone back to the estate, would we have just ended up in the same place? Maybe from the other side.
Anyone want to find out?
Sounds like we're going in.
Who goes first?
I think Belly Boy's gonna go first.
Oh, fuck.
Belly, you take one step in, and you don't see any lights come on, but you can see a lot clearer. You step in, and I want to see if I can drag just you to a page. Yeah.
Oh,
You see doors, or not really doors, but passageways, stretching on and on and on and on and on into this dark, seemingly infinite tunnel. Do you continue in?
does this give Bellamy the same sort of vibe he got when he first entered the tunnel?
Yes. This rings every same or all the same bells and whistles go off in your head of exactly the sort of sensation of like it's just like the temple. It's just like those ruins.
Bellamy's gonna stop at where he's at. I imagine his fingers are shaky. He keeps looking down at them, expecting to see blood. And he'll just stand there until Kaith joins, if they do join.
Yeah, they'll step over the threshold as well.
Okay. You step in, and almost immediately you see this entire passageway that just stretches on and on and on and on. And each other passageway is a threshold to some other direction. This is very, very much connected to the old world. And, or rather, before I shift away, is there anything you do as you step in and see all of these doors and these passages in this hall?
Kaith is going to look in one of the other doors. Not the one that came through.
Okay. So you go up to a different passageway. And as you go up and look into it, you see, much like how you saw into this one, just a dark threshold. It all but says out loud, it all but verbally beckons you to cross. Do you cross the threshold?
Don't we cut away at that moment, though?
Well, yes.
Damn. Yeah.
You do cross?
Fuck it, we ball.
Bucket, we ball indeed. You cross the threshold. And just as your foot steps over that threshold, back at the museum, Kathis, you step through a door.
That's the wrong cat.
No. Kathis steps through a door into the museum, but not Kathis. Cat, they're back. So soon. They couldn't have been gone more than 40 minutes. And yet, here they stand. Though without Bellamy. And their outfit is different. Not in a way that stands out to you. But Kathis is here, right now, with you.
As she was trying to figure out what it was she forgot to do, she looks up and she sees Caithness and just sort of purses her lips a little bit.
Oh, that was a wee bit quick, wasn't it? Are you already done? Did you forget something?
Kathis regards you. And you see, for a moment, recognition and then realization. And Kathis smiles. And that's where we're gonna end for the evening.
That is extremely spooky.